Hi, everyone. Sorry, it took me a second to remember how to join. Um, Happy almost Halloween, and we're so excited that you guys are here tonight with us for our game night with Gold EDU. I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather. I've got whatever nastiness is going on, but this is the best part of being virtual is that I can still see you and talk to you, and you're not getting my germs. So, yay. But we're really happy to have you guys here with us tonight, and let me bring on my two of my edu besties. We've got Stephanie Howell and Miss Ashley. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you guys? You look almost didn't recognize you guys in your costumes.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
we
we decided to go Halloween.
Yep,
It's fun to dress up.
I know a little bit. I've got my Duke blue, or yeah, I can't even talk. I'm Duke blue devil horns on.
I like how they're glowing.
Yeah, they're pretty
Nice.
Yep.
It's very fun.
And let us know in the chat, are you dressing up for Halloween?
Or are you dressed up right now?
Ooh.
You can pause the video and get dressed up.
True. We decided at school that my friend Haley that teaches English on my team, her and I, we're going to be puns, and we're going to be Hawaiian punch because our assistant principal is Hawaiian. So I'm going to dress up in like a lei and all that stuff, and she's dressing up like a boxer. So that's Hawaiian punch.
Yeah.
That's
I like it.
Oh my gosh.
Well, before we get started, please make sure you do join our Google group. That's where we can share lots of great information with everyone. And then we've got tons of resources there that you guys can use. And if you are needing help watching the video, we're going to put that in the chat as well. And Ted, that'd be great to see a mustache lying around. And then to access our slides for today, we'll put those in the chat as well. And that's something you guys can always refer back to whenever you need.
And I just want to shout out Ted real quick. I did a session with him last Friday on learning in disguise. So the video has been posted if you want to rewatch it or see the replay. And I was so sad. I actually am going to keep these because it was just very, very sad. I bought these mustaches 2 years ago and they don't stick anymore.
Oh.
So they were falling off. And so Ted, I went and bought these for you. Right after the session, I bought 6 of them. And I felt bad because I had it all planned to wear this during the session. And then it just didn't work. And Ted was all dressed up. He had a hat and his mustaches. So Ted, this is for you.
That's amazing. I love it.
Glasses are awesome.
I know, but I feel like you're seeing a glare, so I'm probably going to wear them like this tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. I mean, I can go get the pack to make sure you see this, but I was really hoping Ted would join tonight just because I was like, these are for him. So you made my entire night, Ted. Thank you. We're done with our session.
Oh, so this is me. See, I told you guys I'm not with it. So once again, we've got Ashley, Megan, and Stephanie here today. Please follow us on Twitter. We'd love to connect with people, and then always send us messages, or if you need anything, we're always here to reach out. So thank you once again for joining us.
So tonight is game night, and I don't know how things work at your house, but we have a lot of game nights in my family. We've even designated part of our basement where we have all of these board games displayed. Games are a big deal. We take them really seriously, and we have game nights all the time, and it's very competitive. So we want to talk about some of our favorite games. So Megan, what are some of your favorite board games to play?
So I love Apples to Apples. That's just an easy game to play, and I like to try and throw people off and pick a card that they wouldn't ever think I would pick.
Mm-hmm.
In what the situation is. And then oh, okay. Then I also love Uno, and I've got a couple of decks of cards at school. And last week, I had my students even getting out the instructions because they were trying to figure out the rule, and I was dying laughing because what eighth graders follow the rules? They got them out. It was amazing. I loved it. I took a picture.
That is awesome. And I feel like Uno is one of those games where families might play by different rules.
Mhm.
So I feel like I'm always asking, okay, what rules do you play by for this game?
Yep.
But
They will
I
tell
love
you.
Uno at school.
Yep. What about you, Stephanie? What games do you like?
So I'm very competitive, right? Like I love a good game night. And prior to kids, me and Kevin would play games probably at least 3 times a week. Just because we both loved games. And again, we're like both really competitive. And then we had kids and games went out the window. But AJ always buys me a game on my birthday. It's kind of cute. But this year's game had something to do with like monkey poo. And it was like Play-Doh and the monkey poops it out and then he throws it and you have to like try to hit the bananas.
Oh,
We only played once. It was really lame.
Did you win?
Huh?
Did you win?
Oh, I didn't even get to play. Like
Oh,
it
you
was all
didn't.
AJ. Like when AJ buys you presents, it's really presents for him. So when I was kind of playing like these games, we've kind of taken a stop just because of the age of my kids. But I feel like AJ's starting to be at the age where he can play these games. So my 2 favorites are Sorry. I love sending people back home when they get really close to getting to their home, but sending them all the way back to start. That's like one of my favorite things. And then the next one is Settlers of Catan. I am a pro. Back in like college and like my younger years, we would do Catan tournaments and I always came out on top. So I'm very good at the game. I have like a luck, but then it's also strategy. So those are 2 of my favorite games. But again, I just love games. Like Kings in the Corner is like a good card game. Uno, of course. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So we're starting to teach AJ some games, but right now I'm like, I have to win. So that's really hard with a 3-year-old.
I'm sure he has to win too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I look at it a lot. And we get really competitive with dominoes in my family. And they get like good, they go all across the kitchen table. And we do like the train versions where we use like the trains, like to stop people from playing in certain areas with dominoes. I also love card games. I feel like that's such a classic way to play games. It's just whipping out some cards. Whether you're just playing like nines, if you've ever played that, rummy. I'm open to any kind of card game. Not euchre though. I've tried and I'm really terrible. So I'm not a big fan of that game. But I also play Rummy Cube. It's a lot of fun. I don't know, I just love all types of games. So we would love to kind of learn about your favorite games. Feel free to tell us in the chat what your favorite game is. Oh, Monopoly is definitely one of my favorites too. I know in my house, I'm usually the winner, so my husband no longer plays with me. But I love Monopoly as well, Ted. And
then we have a game for you.
Yes, we do. So this is 2 truths and a lie. We're going to read the statements to you, and you have to figure out which one of us is lying. Stephanie, do you want to read yours first?
Yeah, so mine is that I have touched sand from every desert in the world.
Ooh. You have traveled quite a bit.
Oh, you do, yeah.
Have you been to from every desert in the world?
I don't know.
Mine is I have been to Italy 3 times.
And mine, I have never broken a bone.
So we want to know in the chat, who do you think is the liar?
This is the liar.
Is it Stephanie? Is it Megan? Or is it Ashley? Tell us in the chat.
I mean, Italy, I feel like we should be able to ask each other questions too, right?
Oh,
Like, because isn't that where you get people like tripped up in their lie?
Yeah, it could be.
Is like when they can't answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so like, what questions do you have?
What does the food taste like in Italy?
Oh, that's a good one. Not anything like you've had here. Even the best Italian restaurants, it is not like it at all in Italy. It's super fresh. It just like melts in your mouth. If you've got gluten allergies, you can eat the pasta there because there's like nothing chemical added into anything. It is amazing.
Okay.
That's really interesting about the gluten.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the bone. Have you ever been injured very badly, Ashley?
I've been injured. Yeah.
Did you
know,
break that bone?
I guess that would depend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say yes.
And Stephanie, how many flights have you been on?
Flights?
Oh.
Well, that's a good question. I really don't know.
Okay.
Do you know that answer for yourself?
No.
Okay.
Should
I pull up my American Airlines?
Announcement. You would know.
I don't know. All right, Ted's going with Ashley. So our liar is
Well, we'll go like this. I am not lying. So I've never broken a bone. A spraining, I had a really bad sprain that led to a lifelong ankle injury. But not a broken bone. So I'm not the liar.
All right. I am not the liar either. I have touched every single desert in the world. And it was just recently.
What?
And so, yeah, it was recently. So I did it in one location. And it was at Apple Park. So I went to the Google Champion event in Sunnyvale. And the day before, we went to the Apple Park area. And they had this like art sculpture. I'm trying to see if I can. Oh, Mike's there. Mike was with me. I have evidence that Mike was with me on this trip. He also touched every sand from the deserts in the world. So I have evidence that Mike is here. And so they had like these, Mike might be able to explain it a lot better than me, but they had these like cylinders, I think is the right shape. Okay. And with the cylinders, they had sand from every single desert. And so we went by and we touched them all. Oh. I think there was like 40. Is that correct, Mike? And so we touched all of the sands around Apple Park. Yeah, so I did not lie. And Mike did too. Chris did, and Greta also.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then we were like, this is a great 2 truths and a lie. Like nobody will guess this. And so now I had to do it when Ashley was like, this is our game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were lying. So Megan, you're lying?
Yes. I mean, so I haven't been there 3 times, but I've been to Italy twice. So I am lucky in that aspect. I'd like to go a 3rd time.
I'll go.
Okay.
I know. I want to go.
I've never been there.
It's amazing.
I want that amazing food you keep talking about.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. The gelato.
Oh, making me so hungry.
No, it's so good.
Sounds delicious.
So I don't have a picture of the sand, but I have a picture of us at Apple Park.
Oh,
I know. But no sand.
I love it.
Why did I think Chris has the video of the sand. Someone has it.
Well, this could be a really fun game to play with your students. You could have them think of 2 truths and a lie. You could do this in your classroom with them and they could guess your truths and a lie, or you could do it with staff too. It's just a fun get to know you, and it gets people guessing and talking, and it's a fun way just to build class community. So I'm not sure if you've done this year at school. Feel free to tell us in the chat, but it just gets people guessing and communicating with each other in a fun way.
Yeah, and I really like this version. Like, I feel like you could have a group of 3 and 2 of the people tell the truth and 1 person tells the lie. I do like this version, but I've usually played where 1 person comes up with like 3 different things. And usually I'm like sitting there like, I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
But I really like this version because it wasn't as difficult. You just needed one thing. Okay, so our agenda for today is we're going to brainstorm. So we're going to think about different ways to make games fun for students and or staff. So if you're a coach or a principal, thinking about how can you make game part of professional learning. If you're an educator, you might kind of think about your students. And then we're going to execute. So we're going to gather that material, create our game, and then actually play the game. And we're going to design our new game, and we're going to come up with directions and kind of just talk through game design and what this is going to look like. So the first thing that we have for you is, what type of gamer are you? So on this slide, there is a 40 question quiz that you're able to take. And so it's just kind of fun for your students. I've done this with students before just to kind of see what type of gamer they are, because what's really interesting when you look at the research behind game-based learning or gamification is it will motivate any student. It hits like all these different types of individuals in some way. And so after you take that test, you're going to get dropped into one of these categories. And sometimes you might be 2, just kind of depending on your score and your personality, I guess. But you've got your achiever. So that's Ashley. She is the one that loves to kind of accomplish things, cross it off her list. And that's going to be really helpful when you have that in your game, is that achiever student is going to keep the group kind of focused on, this is the goal. This is the goal that we need to do, right? Then you have the destroyer, which is Megan and I. And we will do whatever we can to destroy you. Okay. We're going to cheat if we have to. But Ashley, if she's in our group, she's going to keep us like level headed and be like, guys, we can't cheat, you know? And then we
have to level up. We have to like,
yeah.
I was thinking like Candy Crush with this, or like games where you have to complete tasks successfully to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Or like when I was younger, I beat the entire Mario. I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's you. No. Where I beat Mario by putting in a code.
Oh, you cheated.
Yeah. In like Sims, I did the whole code to get myself to like $1 million or whatever the number was with a bunch of zeros.
Oh, the rosebud cheat.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm the destroyer. I beat Mario, but I didn't do it faithfully, right? Then we've got the explorer. They're going to click all the links in Mario. They're going to explore. They're going to go on like side quests. They're going to like do a lot of extra parts of the game because they just want to see what everything is a part of it. And then your socializer is just there to be there, to talk to people. They don't care about winning. They don't care about the game. They're just there for the social aspect. These people really like apples to apples type of games. And so again, they're just there to be there. And so when you have a group of students, the socializer is going to benefit because they're able to collaborate with other students. Your destroyer is going to benefit because they won't be able to cheat if they're with an achiever. And then your explorer is going to kind of benefit as well because they're going to be able to help the team with like all the little details that they might not have catched because they read every single piece of the description and the directions and all of that. So again, all of these together create a really good team. And again, game works because it hits all of these different motivators for students, different people that kind of collaborate. So again, when you have that, you're able to kind of have a game and think about how it impacts all of these different types of gamers. And so after we do that, we're going to then execute. So Megan's going to walk us through the steps of executing our game.
So to execute, you first need to think about your materials. Are there things you need? Do you need dice? Do you need paper, pencil? Is it just something where you need nothing at all? like if you're going to do a 4 corners or a this or that, or have pictures of 6 things and what 3 belong. So just kind of thinking about what do you need to make your game successful. The biggest part next, I think, is teaching students how to win and lose like a hero. There are a lot of sore losers. I'm not saying anyone that we know, or myself. But you do need to learn how to lose graciously and win graciously. There are times when we'll be playing a review game at school and I will jump in and the kids get mad at me because I take their coins or their money, whatever game we're playing. And I'm like, but that way you guys can steal from me. I don't care. But then secretly I do care because I want to win. But I'm not rubbing it in people's faces or anything like that. And so that's what we need to teach our students. How do you win and lose graciously? There's all sorts of times you can play this. Often we play games at the beginning of the school year or the start of a new semester when you're getting new students, so you get to know each other. It helps, it helps to, just talk to each other and make sure our students are up moving around if needed. And communication skills are so huge. You could play this, if you've got a couple minutes at the end of class, or if you need a brain break. There's always all sorts of games that you can play. It helps to build all sorts of social skills, interpersonal skills, your class community. And, you could use it as a reward if there's a game they really like to play. I know back when I was in elementary school, we had penny hockey boards. And that was like the big thing. Everybody wanted to play penny hockey. And that was like a reward that you could try to earn. So those are great ways as to when to play games in class.
And so we have some resources to support you in this game creation. These are all hyperlinked. And if you have ideas, send them our way as well, because we can add them and we can keep having this resource grow as we might need to. But like Megan said, having the materials needed. So thinking, is it going to be digital or is it going to be on paper? And so these are hyperlinked, some of the resources, where this one's like digital cards. So maybe you'll get creative with a game that has physical cards, or maybe you're like, oh, I need to make this digital. So there are this like resource that we found that has these digital cards. There's also these fun like game creators. I'm not really into this type of game. I don't even know what type of game this is. It's like more strategy, I feel like, than luck. I'm very lucky. So when it comes to these, you can kind of have these to create different cards or figures on them that students could maybe trade or something. And you could do this with content. Like Megan teaches social studies, so maybe she could do like King George.
Oh yeah.
Kids make up like some type of game,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have to like trade them or something. I don't know yet.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You might need figures for your games where they're like moving their little pieces. And so they could maybe do like a star game piece that's moving along the board. So I love Flat Icon. There's other websites here as well. I think Eric Kurtz made this. No, Game Store made this one. I thought this was really cool. This little figure off to the side. So it walks through like the steps of how to create this cutout Google image of, I think, is that George Washington, correct?
That looks like, yep.
George Washington. So that could also be fun for students to take their content and gamify it, where they're creating all the characters and all of that kind of stuff. So there's an idea. There's also maybe movement. How do you want the students to move against the board? Maybe you need a dice. Maybe you need dry erase dice that you can buy on Amazon where you can change the numbers by erasing them. I love eggs, and Ashley had to add the word plastic, not real eggs, plastic eggs, where you can like take them apart, put some kind of clue inside of it, and then you just close it, and then you hide them around your classroom. We also did like an egg dash, which is from E3 Learning. You have all of the eggs in the middle, and then the kids run and they grab them, and then they have to solve the questions, take them back, resolve. So again, it's just kind of different ways that you can make your learning fun. There's a dice, there's a coin. Spinners is great. Oops. So here's one with Wheel of Names. And again, you might have a ton of other resources, and just let us know and we can add them onto the list. game boards, power-up cards. These are cards that I've collaborated with students on, and I will just add these randomly to a game or as a collaborative group where they have to read the card and do that activity. So for example, one player gets to time out. So they go to timeout for 1 minute. So wherever timeout is in your classroom, they play that card on another team, and that team kind of has a penalty against them. And again, these are brainstormed with students. So we had a lot of fun creating them. This one, you will have to clap each time you type. So clap.
Oh my gosh, that would drive me crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So again, they're just fun. And after we play a couple times with the kids, we will add these. I'll ask them like, hey, do you have any other ideas? And they usually do. So we just add to this list. This one, put a task that you don't want to do so they don't have to do that activity. So again, this is more if we're just working in groups, and then they can, like, I just gamify it by adding these power-up cards in, and then they kind of attack other people. I usually set like a timer for maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then if they don't use their card, then they lose it, kind of thing. But the kids love these power-up cards. Music, just like Ashley, we were talking about before, like why didn't we have spooky music before, right? But that music can really help you. Timers as well. So there's a whole list of timers that you can use in your classroom to kind of help you keep track, and timers really work great with games.
I love those power-up cards. I think that would be such a fun way to incorporate just in a lesson, just to throw off students when they're working individually or in groups. Just like throw them one.
Yep.
I would love to see it with teachers too.
Oh yeah.
Like during a PD, like, okay, you're working on this activity. And sometimes I don't tell the kids I'm going to do a power-up card.
Yeah, I don't
I
tell
just throw it down, and then they read it and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, you play it on another team. And then they think they're so cool because they got a power-up card, but really every group got a power-up card. But they don't know it.
That illusion.
Yeah, or sometimes I'll put them in random envelopes, and then like if it's in the task that they have to do, they have a power-up card.
Love it. Oh my gosh. And that's like you shared. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we would love to create now. I don't know if you brought some games with you that you like to play at school or with staff members, but we would love to learn about some of those favorite games you play. It could be quick things, it could be longer games, or some of those strategies you're using to increase engagement. Feel free to create with us. You can click the link on the slide or in the chat. And we can even share some of the things that we have already included in this slide deck.
So for my game, it's Tic Tac Booya. It's one of my absolute favorite games. And there's so many different ways that you're able to play this game. I use it as a review game. So if students need a review for a test or upcoming assignment, students will either have this projected up on the board, or sometimes I will take this over to Cami, and then I share the collaborative link with my students. And students, when it's in Cami, can't delete each other's work. Where in a Google slide they can. So I'll come in here, and I usually come to anyone with the link. I usually do editor, and then I usually also control the features. So let's see, I might need to change the sharing for this. Done. And then right here, anyone with the link is an editor. And I don't know why my sharing settings don't want to change, but they don't want to change. So when I go in, here, I'll go ahead and just do a file, download, PNG. I take that image, add it right in Cami. And then what I'll do is I will hit the share button, and I will then allow anybody with the link can annotate, control features, and I turn everything off. But I could do the markup tool where they can highlight the box. I could do the text box, but I usually like the shape tools. That's just my preference. And then I will go down and hit OK. And so now when I share this, I'm going to go ahead and add people in the chat. Go ahead and click that link. And so then what happens is I will ask my students questions. So you can see on my teacher screen, I'll be able to delete X's or shapes that students put up on the board, but other students can't. They can only delete theirs. So I really like that. And plus I can see who did what. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put like a triangle here. So this is like one team, we'll say. Another team might be the pentagons and then the circles. And they can also be like certain color teams. So maybe we've got like the red team. We've got the green team. It's kind of up to you on how you want to organize your shapes. And so students will go ahead. Their goal is to get 3 in a row. So as they're answering questions, they're getting them correct. Their goal is to get, 4 in a row. So right here is 4 in a row. And then on my screen, I have more tools. So you can see here, my students just have the shape tools because that's just what I sent out to them. But right here, I've got more tools. So I will go up to the markup tool. And then I'll highlight to show that this team has 4. And then we can either play and that's it. Like we're done after the first team that gets 4. Or I'll have a timer. And so if I have a timer, I can just kind of go in. I usually do maybe 15 minutes. This one works. Grab the link. I add it right in here. This is usually projecting up on the board. There's my 15-minute timer for my students. I'll play it. They're playing on their end. I'm checking them, so they're getting immediate feedback from me about how they're doing in real time. Let's go ahead and give the triangles some points. They can also block each other from getting points. So there's another team. Maybe I'll use purple. And so then at the end of the time, whoever has the most shapes or 4 in a rows wins. And so I'm able to, again, kind of hover and I can see which students put which shapes as well. So then I'm able to kind of see. But again, what I love is that students can't delete other students' work. Where on the board, I've had issues where students will go up to the board and start to erase someone because they're the destroyer. No destroyers can be achieved. And I'm okay with that because I'm the one usually running the game and control of it. Where if I was playing, I'd be a little bit upset. So if they do like try to do this, I can see, and then I can go into like the history as well and be like, okay, you put that last, so you're automatically, disqualified. So yeah, that is my share, is that Tic Tac Booyah, where students try to get 4 in a row. And then I go in and I highlight, or I give the students the option to highlight as they win. So that's one of my favorite activities.
That's a great game.
That's really fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see that getting really crazy, like depending on how close you're getting to win.
Yeah, and you'll get 10,000 steps if you do that activity. Because I believe like you need to give kids immediate feedback. And so I usually just have them work on a worksheet that they have to do on paper with like maybe a marker, a whiteboard or something. And then I'm running around the room checking them. And I usually have my nice little markers and I just give them a star on their paper and then they run up, they go in and they put their X in. And again, if you want them up and moving, you can do it on the whiteboard. If you have issues with kids erasing, then I usually use Cami.
No, I love that with Cami. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Very fun. Okay, so one of my games is Ultimate Rock, Paper, Scissors. So we used to do this during pep rallies. We would have 2 lines of kids, and each line is like facing each other. And you have kids for a face-off. And when they're doing this, they're just like competing rock, paper, scissors. And they're just going through quickly. It's like rapid fire and just going through and doing rock, paper, scissors. If you lose, you have to sit down. If you win, you continue playing and you go to the end of the line. So that's one way to do it with 2 lines. Or if you have like an entire class, what I normally do is have everybody pick a partner first. And you play and do like 3 rounds. Losers sit down, and then for the second round, the winners play other winners for 3 more rounds or matches. If you lose, sit down. And then for round 3, you get all the winners up front, because it's really fun to see who is still in the game, because then it gets everybody else cheering on. But if all the winners line up at the front, then they like face off. And then it's like rapid fire, just one round for each of the winners. And then you end up with like 2 people at the very end for like the final elimination. And then you have a champion. So I like this if there's no supplies involved, except for maybe posting rules. But this could be really fun, especially if you have some extra time to fill in class, or to get kids moving, like maybe first thing in the morning. But I like it. I love team building activities, and I know kids really like that. So that was one for team building. This one I stole from a teacher I used to work with, and I call it Hot Seat. So this is also a really great activity if you have a little bit of extra time. For this game, you're also practicing listening and taking turns. So for this game, the directions are on the first slide. But you choose one person to sit in the hot seat. And when they're sitting, they have to face away from the board. That way they can't see what's on the screen behind them. But the image, so like the basketball, would be displayed behind them, and everybody else who's in the classroom has to raise their hand and give one clue to help that person in the hot seat figure out what this image is. They obviously can't say it's a basketball, because you can be like, it's orange, it's round. You use it when you play like for this sport. You give one clue. And then the person who gives the clue that helps the person figure out what it is gets to be next in the hot seat. They love this. I make them all be quiet when they're raising their hands, or I say the person in the hot seat will not call on you. But it really helps practice classroom management, because they have to be sitting, they have to be quiet, or they won't be called on. And I even have the person in the hot seat say their name. So this is great for the beginning of the year to help students practice each other's names. But they're just really silly, random images I found. And they love this.
One of our teachers at my school, he does this occasionally with vocab words.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That'd be another fun way to play it.
Yep. They love it.
Yeah, I need to make more of these, because in one class they went through them so fast. They gave like the best clues. We almost went through the whole slide deck. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Some of the classes get really good because they want to be the next person in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. I was thinking of the emoji one. I'm like, what word would I use?
They're so good. They're like, you send it when you text. And they're like, emoji. Like, yeah.
And so if you have a game, we would love for you to add it to the collaborative document. So you'll just come on in, find your slide, and then you'll add your image, just like a quick graphic to help us know that you created it or what it is. And again, like there's some really cool sites on here that Margie added, that I was like, I don't know what this one is, classgrit.com. So I'm excited to learn more about that. 99 Math, Flippity, Blooket. So even if it's not like a game that you've created, it's a website with games, feel free to add it here as well. All right. Oh, wait. So we have to turn off our cameras first.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to play another game, and everybody's going to have an image. That's me. And we're just waiting for Ashley.
Sorry, I'm trying. My mouse is lost on the other screen.
So for this game, you could do this in person. We also did this a lot when we were virtual. And so for this activity, we have our cameras off. You could also have your backs to each other, where they're just kind of not facing each other at first, and you give them some type of scenario. So okay, there we go. Ashley figured it out. So for this one, they have to make a face. Okay, so I'm going to look at the directions first here. So again, it's called Face Off. It's from Jimmy Fallon's Face It Challenge. It's hilarious. If you have not watched it, go to YouTube and watch it. Two people have their backs away from each other, and they have to make a face reflecting the scenario. Then they have to display their face on the screen or in person. And then they try not to break, like laugh. And whoever does it first is like out, and whoever keeps their face is the winner. Again, here's just some fun scenarios that you could use with your students. It just, again, builds that classroom culture. So our scenario is the teacher. So thinking of the teacher perspective, has just been given more time to work in their classroom. So maybe it was a long day of their thinking, I'm going to have professional learning all day. But then they were just told, oh, you get more time to work in your classroom. So on what, count of 3, you think, you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
So on the count of 3, we are going to share our face. You can vote in the chat. But again, the first person to break it is kind of the loser. So here we go. Once I can get my mouse. 1, 2, 3.
I can't do it anymore.
So I think that was longer than 10 seconds. That I could have been wrong, because 10 seconds is a long time when you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Megan,
going
you did really
forever.
well. But you also hit your face, so I'm proud of you for that.
That was great.
So feel free to let us know who won that challenge in the chat. Ashley did not.
No,
Again, it's just fun, right? And so you could do that quick activity just to start something off. And people just, they're looking at each other, they're laughing and just having fun. Megan.
Oh, thanks, Greta. I was trying to beat Stephanie because we're both competitive. Well, we thank you guys for joining us. It's been fun. It's been great to see my Edu besties, because we're kind of all going off in different directions recently. So it's great when we get to reconnect. We've put in the chat a feedback if there's anything you'd like to share with us to help us grow. Make sure you join and look at our gold website. And then also, if you are interested, you could always just buy us a coffee to keep us going. Maybe mine should be a hot tea because of whatever this is that's going on. But we do appreciate everyone joining us. This is what we're here for, and we love seeing our friends. And yeah, thanks guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, and have fun. Let us share on social media your games, and share again in that shared deck what you create, because we're excited to see all of the amazing creations. And I can't wait to take some of the games that you
for
made.
sure.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.